Amazon pilot season is going again, and they've come out with some interesting ones this year. The one I decided to watch just a couple days ago was a really cool looking one. It's called The Man in the High Castle. Now this is based off of a Philip K. Dick novel that came out, I believe, in 1962. It's actually being produced by Ridley Scott, so that's pretty cool. You got a good producer behind it, and this story centers around the theory. It's kind of one of those alternate timeline shows. So what happened was, in 1934, FDR was assassinated. Uh, because FDR was not around to help bring us out of the Great Depression, America had a lot weaker economy, military presence. We never joined World War II, and our military never exploded kind of like it did. We didn't get Detroit, working on the bombers and all that and the tanks and everything. And so what happens is after the Nazis and Japan take over their respective areas, they turn their sights to America, and America is split in two. You have the eastern part is called the Greater Reich states, and the western part is called the Japanese states. And you have kind of a border zone, a neutral zone, which is kind of the Rockies that runs down the country. And so this all is taking place in 1962 is when the story takes place. So it's about 20 years after this all happened. And now the only way America did, surrender was instead of us dropping a bomb on Japan, the Nazis actually dropped a bomb on us. So, I guess this shows you how it might feel. But yeah, so it's all this has been done for past 15, 20 years. And there's kind of this brewing Cold War between the Japanese and the Nazis. And so that's kind of the interesting setting. So instead of Americans and Russians, the two people who won the other war, it's these two guys who won the war. And it follows a man and a woman, one from the West Coast, the woman from the West Coast, the man from the East Coast, both heading towards the neutral zone to pretty much deliver. Now, they kind of give you hints at what it is. It's actually, and they do it in the relative beginning of it. They show you that it's a film, and it's what we would know as VA Day, Victory Day, with all the soldiers coming back to Times Square and the sailors and all that, and all the happiness. And it shows America winning the war, pretty much. And apparently these are some sort of propaganda films that were made up to, incite a revolution. So all this is happening. I think this is one of the cooler settings. I do like these alternate history ones. You've seen... see them more in video games, actually. Like if you ever played the Resistance video game, that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, there's not a lot of shows that are like this intensely alternate history. You'll see like minor tweaks, but not like decades after a major event drastically changing everything.
Yeah, and it is pretty drastically changed because they show San Francisco, and everything's written in Japanese all over the place, and it's like, oh, well, okay. I guess Japan takes over there. And they show this American flag, which is pretty much the same American flag, but instead of the stars in the blue, it's just the swastika in the blue. So some interesting things are happening. And I just love the setting. I think it's an amazing setting just because the time period, the 60s in America was a very interesting time period. But imagine if the Nazis and the Japanese had influenced it. So... that's even more interesting. And they do have some very almost creepy scenes. Like there's this one scene, this guy's driving a truck across country, and he's got a flat tire, and he's taking this film to the neutral zone. Cop pulls over and helps him change the tire and everything, and all of a sudden this like ash starts falling from the sky, and the guy goes, what's all this? And he goes, oh, that's just the hospital. They burn the cripples and the mentally ill people on Wednesdays. It's just like, oh, wow. Kind of gives you just a hint at what life might be like if Hitler had succeeded in taking over almost the world. So it's very, very interesting. And one other bit is that the Germans, they continue their technological advances, and they actually developed a plane that runs on nuclear energy, and it can fly from New York to San Francisco in 2 hours.
Hey, fun fact. I don't know about the speed, but the U.S. actually developed a plane that could run on nuclear energy. It's just, kind of a dangerous thing to put a nuclear device on a plane.
Yeah, just flying through the air. Hey, hey,
But there was a project that developed it.
Yeah, that sucks. But I'm just really interested to see this, and if you know anything about pilot season, is they don't pick up all the shows. I think there was like 10 shows on this year's pilot season. Last year they had a show called Transparent that got got picked up actually won 2 Golden Globes. So I'm hoping that this is the show that they decide to pick up, because I would love to see them really flesh out the story, because the pilot is just 1 episode. So we're kind of left hanging. Like, do they deliver the tapes? Do they meet up with the resistance? What's going to happen? And they also talk about Hitler's getting sick. He's about to die, and there's going to be a power vacuum, and you're going to see who's going to try to take over on the German side. And then those German sides apparently wants to go. Hitler's the only one keeping all the dogs at bay from going to war with Japan and taking over the rest of the United States. And there's just all these pieces, these dominoes they've set up to fall down that you haven't quite seen fall yet. So I'm very, very, very excited to see if this one gets picked up, and if it does, I'm excited to see the conclusion of this tale. I might even go pick up and read a book. I might do that. Nah, I won't read a book. Read books. Okay, I read books from time to time. Quit saying I'm stupid. I see your face, Brendan. I'm the only one who can see it. People don't know it, but I can see his face in a little box on the bottom. He's like, "You don't read books, Brian. You dummy."
He reads.
Yeah, and he's just going to say
Archie.
He's like, "Yep." But let me know what you think. Are you excited to see this? Do you hope it gets picked up? Hit us up, comments down below. Of course, at Words for My Face on Twitter, Google Plus, Facebook. Always good ways of getting a hold of us. Listen.